Emma thought she'd built the perfect life with Andrew, but when betrayal knocks on her door in the form of a beautiful stranger, she must decide: fight for what's hers or walk away with her pride. This is a story of love, betrayal, and the ultimate comeback. Stay tuned. The cool night air outside the Mason estate was crisp, but inside, tension weighed heavy, suffocating. Andrew Mason stormed into the living room, his face twisted with frustration. His usually calm and composed demeanor was now replaced by an anger he could no longer contain. His home, once a sanctuary, had become a battlefield. "Emma," he barked, his voice taut with tension. "Are you mocking me again?" Emma stood at the far end of the room, her arms tightly crossed over her chest, her gaze icy and unflinching. This wasn't the first time they clashed like this, and she knew it wouldn't be the last. But today, something inside her felt different, stronger. Her voice was steady, sharp as glass. "Mocking you," she shot back, her words cutting through the thick silence. "Or maybe you're just feeling guilty, Andrew." Andrew's jaw tightened. He ran a hand over his face, struggling to keep his temper in check. "Guilty? What exactly are you accusing me of now?" Emma took a step forward, her heart pounding, though her voice remained calm. "Are you hiding Rachel here again?" At the mention of Rachel, Andrew's expression hardened. He despised being confronted, especially about his involvement with the woman who had recently stormed into his life. "Rachel Edwards," he said stiffly. "The one from my office. She's no secret." Emma let out a bitter laugh. "I didn't think you'd have the audacity to bring her into our home. After everything at the wedding, the scandal, the rumors, I thought you'd have some decency. But you're no better than the whispers, are you?" The sting of her words hung in the air, but before Andrew could respond, a confident voice echoed from the doorway. "Andrew, do we have a guest?" Rachel appeared in the dim light, her silhouette framed in the entryway. She walked into the room with effortless grace, carrying herself like she owned the place. She smiled, but her eyes were cold and calculating. Emma's stomach churned. Rachel was everything she feared, beautiful, poised, and undeniably confident. But Emma held her ground, refusing to be intimidated. "I see you've made yourself quite at home," Emma said icily. "It must feel nice, strolling into someone else's house and acting like you belong." Rachel's smile widened, her eyes sparkling with silent challenge. "Oh, Emma, sweetheart, I didn't realize you still considered this your home." Andrew stood frozen, caught between the two women. He had sensed this confrontation was coming for weeks, but standing here now, he felt powerless to stop it. It was easier to let them fight it out, anything to avoid making a choice. "I'm not leaving," Emma said firmly, her voice unwavering. "You may think you've taken my place, but this isn't over. Not by a long shot." Before either of them could reply, Andrew cut in, his voice strained. "James," he called to the housekeeper, "bring us something to drink, and maybe some fruit." Rachel's soft laugh filled the room, unsettling in its sweetness. She turned toward Andrew. "I trust you've kept the best wine for us tonight. You wouldn't want to disappoint me." Emma's blood boiled. This wasn't just a fight over a house or a relationship. It was a battle for respect, a battle to reclaim the power she had once lost. She couldn't stand by while Rachel made herself at home in the life she had built with Andrew. "I dirted my shoes on the way in," Emma said, her voice sharp. "Maybe Andrew could clean them for me, since he's feeling so generous tonight." Rachel chuckled, light and mocking. "How comfortable you've made yourself, Emma. But don't push your luck." Emma's heart pounded, but she held her ground. "You think spending a few nights here means you've won? Don't flatter yourself. I was the woman of this house long before you showed up." Rachel's expression tightened. "And now, you're just a guest." Emma's fists clenched at her sides. "Don't think I don't see what you're doing. You think you can replace me? You're just a temporary distraction." Rachel stepped closer, her voice soft but cutting. "A distraction? Oh, Emma, darling, I'm far more than that. Autre chose me. He wants me here. You're clinging to something that's long gone." Emma's eyes flared with anger. You don't know what you're talking about. But Rachel wasn't finished. You were lucky once. But your luck has run out, hasn't it? Andrew, sensing the situation spiraling out of control, stepped in again. Enough, he said, his voice strained. I don't want this constant back and forth anymore. Rachel smiled, pleased with herself. She turned to Andrew. These old things Emma left behind? They're such an eyesore. Should I throw them out? Andrew hesitated, but exhaustion won out. Do whatever you want, he said quietly. The words hit Emma harder than she expected. She knew this day would come. The day Andrew would finally push her aside completely, but it still cut deep. You think this is the end? Emma said, her voice steady, though her heart felt like it was shattering. I might leave this house, but mark my words, Rachel, this isn't over. Without waiting for a response, Emma turned and walked toward the door. Her footsteps echoed through the house that was no longer hers, but she wasn't defeated. Not yet. Andrew stood silently, watching her go, his face unreadable. But as the door closed behind her, something inside him shifted, an unsettling feeling he couldn't quite name. Outside, Emma's heart raced. The crisp night air did little to calm her, but the further she walked from the mansion, the clearer her mind became. Rachel's smug voice echoed in her ears, but Emma wasn't beaten. No! This was only the beginning. She had loved Andrew once, deeply, but that love had withered beneath the weight of his betrayal. Now, as she stood outside the life she had once known, she realized she had something more valuable than love. She had herself. As she walked down the long driveway, the lights of the house fading behind her, Emma made a silent vow. She had given everything to Andrew, but now she had nothing left to lose. She would take back what was hers, no matter the cost. Back in the house, Rachel settled comfortably on the sofa, a satisfied grin on her face. Well, she said, sipping from a glass of wine, that went smoother than I expected. Andrew didn't respond. He stood by the window, staring into the night, his thoughts far away. He couldn't shake the knot tightening in his chest, the sense that something vital had just slipped through his fingers. He had chosen Rachel, hadn't he? So why did watching Emma leave feel like a mistake? Rachel glanced at him, her voice laced with impatience. Are you all right? Andrew shrugged, forcing himself to look away from the window. I'm fine, just tired. Rachel smirked but said nothing. She had won, at least for now. But even she could sense a change in Andrew's demeanor. He wasn't as enthusiastic as he had been, and though she had manipulated her way into his life, there was something she couldn't control, Andrew's growing doubt. In the days that followed, Emma kept her distance from Andrew, but she wasn't idle. She reached out to Mike, Andrew's younger brother, knowing he had never trusted Rachel. Mike had always been more grounded, more aware of what was really going on beneath the surface. Mike, Emma said when they met at a quiet cafe, I need your help. Mike frowned, concern etched on his face. What's going on? Andrew hasn't been himself lately. I'm not surprised, Emma replied. Rachel is taking control of everything. Andrew can't see it, but she's after his wealth. If she stays any longer, she'll destroy everything he's worked for. Mike's eyes narrowed. What do you want me to do? Emma smiled faintly, a plan already forming in her mind. Rachel's getting too comfortable. She's become careless. We can use that. With Emma and Mike's help, Andrew uncovered the evidence he needed to see the truth. Rachel had been siphoning money from his accounts, using his wealth to fund her lavish lifestyle. She had played him, and now he had to face the consequences of his choices. The fallout was swift. Legal action was taken, and Rachel was forced to leave the mansion in disgrace. As she packed her things and walked out of the house, her head held high despite the humiliation, Emma watched from the doorway. There was no satisfaction, just a quiet sense of closure. Emma threw herself into rebuilding her life. She revived her business, pouring her energy into the work that had once brought her joy. Her success was swift, and soon she found herself back on her feet, stronger than ever. Andrew, realizing his mistake, tried to reach out, but Emma had moved on. She had found something far more valuable than the life they once shared. She had found herself. In the end, Emma's journey wasn't about reclaiming a relationship or a house. It was about reclaiming her identity, her strength, and her power. And that, she realized, was worth more than anything she had lost. The end. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share this video.